New changes to the global recycling market have made a big impact locally and changed the rules of recycling going forward.
China and Asia more broadly was responsible for over 70% of the material that was getting processed from California and from most of the world, actually.
In late 2017, China changed their standards for recyclable materials that could be imported into the country. An incredibly strict contamination level of 0.5% or less has cut imported plastics by 99% and mixed paper by a third.
So what that essentially did is close their doors. And the reason that they did that is they are making an investment in alternative energy and in solar and in their image internationally as a cleaner, greener country. And they didn't want to be the receiver of the rest of the world's garbage, essentially.
In order for things to be recyclable, there needs to be both a way to collect it and process it into the specific material types, and then it also has to have a market for it. So once it's collected and gathered together in the right material, someone then needs to buy it and turn it into something else. If there isn't a market for it, then it cannot be recycled. So that's unfortunately what we're dealing with a lot of these flimsy plastics, is there's no one that wants to buy this plastic and then turn it into other materials, so we can't recycle it. So if we're going to kind of look at what is and isn't recyclable, the first really is to start is to look at what is recyclable. So we have some of our traditional glass containers. We have our glass bottles, any beverage containers, wine bottles. We've got our jars. You'd want to remove, if you have a metal lid, just remove it. Some of our glass jars. It can be smaller or larger. Pretty much any glass container that's not a drinking glass, so a kitchenware glass, is fine. You just want to make sure that these are empty as much as possible, tap out any excess liquid. If they have sauce or anything on the inside, make sure it's clean and as dry as possible. Any of our household plastics or beverage containers, plastic beverage containers. So we've got our soda bottle, shampoo bottles, conditioners, any other drinking containers, and also some of our harder plastic home cleaning bottles. All of those are recyclable. And any other harder, larger plastics. That could be plastic toys, plastic flower containers, any hard, large plastic over about 6 inches inside, that's also recyclable. And then all of our metals. So it could be anything from metal tools, pots and pans that are metal, of course, aluminum cans, steel cans, soup containers, the lids of the cans. You just want to make sure all of this stuff has been rinsed out, dry as possible, and then you can just toss this right in the blue bin. And last, our category is paper. So pretty much any paper and cardboard, all mail, even the envelopes with the windows on them, all boxes. Reuse these bags as much as possible, but they are recyclable as long as they're clean and not oiled. Some newspapers, anything that comes in the mail is pretty much recyclable except for any of the plastic packaging. The plastic packaging that comes in our mail for our shipping containers and boxes, that stuff has to be thrown in the trash.
All items placed in the blue recycle bin must be clean, dry, and loosely inside with no garbage bag.
So if you're worried about your bin actually getting dirty from the materials you're putting in it, you probably want to throw some of those items in the trash. If they're too dirty for your bin, then they should go in the trash. But a lot of times we think the recycling symbol that we see on it means that the plastic is recyclable. And the recycling symbol doesn't really mean anything. It specifically says what type of material it is and that it could be recycled, but it does not mean it's recyclable in your local municipal system. So to understand what is and isn't recyclable locally, you do have to look at your city or your town's website and actually see what's recyclable, what specific items. The recycling symbol just helps recyclers figure out what materials, what the plastic is made of, but it does not mean it's recyclable locally.
If recycling is good, then waste reduction is great. So what you want to do is see if you can not make it at all, because whether you recycle it or throw it away, it's going to go on a truck, it's going to go through a whole bunch of machinery, there's a lot of processing involved. So if there's a way that you can cut some of these items out of your life altogether, that's really what we want to do. We really want to work on our waste reduction. So, it's getting easier every day to do waste reduction. I have a whole bunch of these things in my own bag at home. So you can bring with you, reusable silverware. There's even some chopsticks in here. I use these all the time. You'd be surprised how often you would be using an item like that. You can use reusable straws and have those in your bag. Reusable straws, very easy to wash. They're stainless steel. You should think about what things you use a lot, and then that's where you can start reducing. If you drink a lot of coffee, get a reusable coffee cup. If you get a lot of to-go food, getting a reusable to-go container. These are choices that every day make a lot of waste reduction.
So to address this fundamental shift in the international market, we at the City of Santa Barbara have dramatically changed what we will receive as recyclables.
In 2018, the City of Santa Barbara established an ordinance to ban single-use plastic straws, as well as expanded polystyrene or styrofoam food containers.
There are lots of really great alternatives in place that are durable or biodegradable, especially with respect to straws and cups. So we are working with the businesses to make sure that they all have materials that align with the new regulations in the city to make sure that they have the right containers to be giving out for any to-go drinks or food.
Our office is always here to help if you have any questions. This can always be really complicated and confusing. So we're here as a resource. You can always go online. We have what's recyclable, what's trash, what's compostable online at sbrecycles.org. You can always call our office. We're happy to help or answer any questions. That's what we're here for. So please, the information is available, and we're here to help you with any questions you have about what's recyclable, how to make great choices about reusables. We're here to answer any questions.